Hello learner, welcome back to our lessons. As usual, Wilfred, Momanyi, onkangi-KIONGOZI, our YouTube account. Subscribe, like everything there, and let us continue learning together. In our previous lesson, I left behind a few questions in using completing the square method. Actually, in this case, I told you to go and calculate the three of them and see whether you are able to get them right. And in case you are not able to get them, all of them, I am here so that we can do them together with you. Add the missing terms to the following expressions to make them perfect squares. For A, we are missing C. For B, we are missing C also. For C, we are missing A. It's good we write those letters there. C is missing, and A is missing. Let us solve them together. A. Solution. We start with A. Our quadratic expression is x squared plus 8x plus a value c that is missing, whereby we can say a is 1, our b, as you can see here, is 8, and c is what we are looking for. So our c is c. We are looking for c. For perfect squares, b over 2 squared is equals to c. C because a is 1. Otherwise, if a was a given coefficient which is more than 1, we could have said AC. Now, 8 over 2 squared is equals to C. Divide by 2 here, you get 1. Divide by 2, you get 4. Then 4 squared is equals to C. That means 4 squared is 16. And that means our C is 16. Then we add it and write the expression correctly. X squared plus 8x plus 16 is our quadratic expression. We move to the next one. B. B, we are also missing C, and the expression is x squared minus 22x plus that value missing. We call it C. For perfect squares, b over 2, everything squared is equals to c, because again, the coefficient of x squared is 1. Our a is 1, our b is negative 22. Remember to carry along with it its sign, negative 22, and our c is what we are looking for, called c. b is negative 22. Divide by 2 squared is equals to c. Divide by 2 here, you get 1. Divide by 2, you get 11. So we have negative 11 squared is equals to c. Negative 11 squared is negative 11 times negative 11, which is positive 121. So our c is 121. And in this case, if you want to write the quadratic expression, we shall have x squared minus 22x plus 121. The last one, which is a bit different, we are missing A. C. We are missing A. So solution, C, we are missing A. A is missing, so we write that letter A. Minus 18x plus 81. For perfect squares again, b over 2 squared is equals to AC. Because we are not very sure of the term or the coefficient of x squared that we shall have. Our a is unknown, our b is negative 18, and our c is 81. So we rearrange this formula with the values that we have. We shall have negative 18 over 2 squared is equals to AC, which is 81A. This value here times the last value there. You divide by 2, 1. You divide by 2, you get negative 9. So, negative 9 squared is equals to 81A. Don't forget these parts. The reason why I have included A is because we don't know the coefficient of x squared. In fact, it could be more than 1. We can't assume it is just 1. So in this case we have negative 9 squared is 81, which is equivalent to 81a. We are looking for the value a. You divide by 81 on both sides, divide by 81 on both sides, and your a is 81 cancels with 81, and also on this side to get 1, your a is 1. So the quadratic expression in question, because a is 1, shall be 1x squared minus 18x plus 81. But this one is insignificant. It is not important. So you rest with the case of x squared minus 18x then plus 81 as your expression, and it is perfect. In this lesson, I want us to apply this knowledge in solving quadratic equations. We apply the knowledge of completing the square method to solve quadratic equations. Solving quadratic equations means we look for the values of x from given quadratic equations. So the chapter, the subtopic, solving quadratic equations. Solving quadratic equations. By completing square method. It is very interesting and very easy to handle this. Very interesting and very easy. I will give you the first example and say consider the quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. X squared plus 4x minus 12 is equals to 0. We want now, we have come out of quadratic expressions, we are now in quadratic equations and actually looking for the value of x in this. I'll give you a few steps and write the following notes. Step 1. Step 1, the first step. Check and ensure that the coefficients of x squared is 1. In this case, we are saying a must be equal to 1. And in case it is not 1, divide across by the number, that coefficient, in all the factors. Whether if it was 2 here, you will divide by 2 here, divide by 2, divide by 2 across, just to make it 1. So first of all, you make sure that the coefficient of x squared, or let's say you make sure that a is 1. So ours is confirmed. Before x here, x squared is 1 plus 4x minus 12 is equals to 0. That one is confirmed. Step 2. Take C, and our C here is negative 12. Take C to the other side, of the equal side. Take C to the other side of the equal side, and you carry along with it its sign. There is a way it will change. We have x squared plus 4x. If we are taking C to the other side, the sign changes. It is a negative here, so we shall have it as a positive 12 on the other side. When it crosses the equal side, it becomes a positive. That is step 2. Step 3. But maybe realize that we have been left with the coefficient, we have been left with the x squared here and b here. So C has moved to the other side. If it was a positive here, when it crosses the equal sign, it becomes a negative. So the sign must always be changed according to how it appears on the left-hand side. Use B. Remember, the part of B is left behind. Use B on the left-hand side to get C. We don't have C now, but we want to get C using the B that is left on the left-hand side by what we call by perfect square method. We have just learned about the perfect square method, where we said B over 2 squared is equals to C. We have given our C to the other side of the equal sign. We want to look for another C and introduce it in. Our B is 4. So, for you to get that C that we are looking for, we shall say 4 over 2 squared is equals to C. You divide by 2 here, you get 1. Divide by 2, you get 2. So, you shall have it as 2 squared. That is step 3. 2 squared. Step 4, the fourth step, we now have the C. Substitutes. Step 4. Substitutes. The C which is 2 power 2 or 2 squared in the left hand side with the B parts. In other words, we are saying you remove this 4x and then instead you substitute it with the C that you got it. The work of this B is to enable us get a C. And the moment we have the C, this is what we shall have. X squared plus 2 power x. We do away with the B is equals to the constant 12 that moved to the other side of the equal sign. And we continue. And the C on the left hand side be added as it is to the constants in the right, it is supposed to be on the right hand side. What we did here, we do it on the other end also. So we shall have x squared plus 2 squared is equals to 12 plus 2 squared. So we have introduced a new C and we have done it on the left hand side and also the right hand side. So there is some commonness. We can factorize the square on the left hand side. Maybe the last step now. We factorize the square because the square is common on the left hand side. Factorize the square. Step 5. Factorize the square on the left hand side. This is what we have. X plus 2. We factorize the square. Factorizing means we put the square outside because it is common to both, and then solve. The right hand side, you have to write the values that you get. 12 plus 2 squared is supposed to be 16. 12 plus 4 is 16. 12 plus 4 is 16. Now in this case, when you want to look for the value of x, as we are finishing, you do the square root on both sides. Do square root both sides so that this square root cancels with this square and you have x plus 2, which is equals to, we say the square root of a number is positive or minus that number. So positive or minus 16. This gives us x plus 2 is equals to plus or minus the square root of 16 is 4. The first value of x is given by x is equals to positive 4. Then you take these 2 to the other side. It becomes minus 2. That is the first value of x, which is 2. The second value of x is going to be 2x plus 2 is equals to negative 4. Then this value crosses the equal sign. It becomes a negative 2. So the second value of x is going to be negative 4 minus 2, which is negative 6. So positive 2 and negative 6 are the two solutions of x. So you say x can either be 2 or x is negative 6. In another language, we shall term these two values as the roots of x in this quadratic expression or equation. We can do one more example, then end the lesson. Do one more example. Do one more example. Example 2. Example 2. Solve x squared plus 5x plus 1 is equals to 0 using or by completing the square method. The square method. Solution. Remember, we have a few steps that are very easy that we said. First of all, let us ensure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. In our question, it is 1. X squared plus 5x plus 1 is equals to 0. Step 2. Take the coefficient to the other side of the equal sign. We shall have x squared plus 5x is equals to, when one positive crosses to the other side, it becomes negative 1. Step 3. Use b to get the c that you have sacrificed to the other side of the equal sign. So our b is 5. And for you to get c for perfect squares, we shall say b over 2 squared is equals to c, because coefficient of x is 1. So x squared plus 5 over 2 square is equals to negative 1. And what you do on the left hand side with the constant that you form, you do it on the right hand side. So we replicate our 5 over 2 squared on the other side too. Then now factorize the square on the left hand side. The square is common. I would say x plus 5 over 2 square is equals to negative 1 plus 5 over 2 square. Solve that one, but this one should be let, because we shall do something to it. Square is equals to negative 1 plus 25 over 4. So in this case, you solve this one completely so that you can get a value that you can find its square root. And then of course, the other one now becomes, so if you say 21 over 4 minus 1, use your calculator, you get, this is x over x plus 5 over 2 squared is equals to, you will get 21 over 4. You will get 21 over 4. 25 over 4 minus 1, you will get 21 over 4 if you use your calculator well. Then now at this juncture, you're looking for the square root on both sides so that you remain with x on one side. So you do the square root here, you do the square root here. And remember, the square root of a number is positive or negative of its factor. So the square root cancels with the square. You have x plus 5 over 2 is equals to plus or minus. The square root of 21 over 4 is plus or minus 2.29. So the first x value is gotten by x is equals to 5 is equals to positive 2.29 minus 5 over 2. 5 over 2 is like 2.5. So that one means you will have x as 2.29 minus 2.5, which is 2.25 minus 2.5, which is supposed to be negative 0.209, and the second value of x is gotten by negative 2.29 minus 2.5, because it closes to the other side, 2.5. This gives you as the final answer as negative 4.779 as your second value of x. So that's how you get the two values of x. So you will say that x, the roots of x are, x can either be negative 0.209 or again x can be negative 4.79. Every time you're looking for solutions of x in a quadratic equation, you must get two values, whether the marks are 3 or 2 or even 4. When you miss one value, you miss a whole mark from the calculations. Now, I want us to write a very small note, and then I leave you behind with just one question, and then we meet in the next lesson. Point to notes. Notes. If the coefficient of x squared, if the coefficient of x squared is not equal to 1, in other words, we are saying i.e. a is not equal to 1, divide, this is what you do, divide the whole equation, divide the whole equation with that coefficient. Divide the whole equation with that coefficient to make it 1. That's why we are saying every time before you start solving for quadratic equations, solving for x in a quadratic equation, you must ensure that the coefficient of a squared or x squared or a is 1. This one is supposed to be a must. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you will not be able to advance to anything. Now, I will leave you this one question to go and attempt. Here's one question to go and attempt. Use completing square method to solve for the quadratic equation below. This is going to be 2x squared plus 4x plus 1 is equals to 0. I have deliberately given you a question whose a is not 1. In fact, a is 2. And if you refer to this the last comment here or the last point here, you'll be able to advance in this chapter or in this question. So till the next lesson, goodbye.